Tony Shepster came from a simple upbringing. He grew up in the small country town of Vernon, Pennsylvania, whose main claim to fame was for their goat cheese. Tony himself became a regular cheese whiz and helped produce cheese on his parents' farm from the ages of 7 to 15, until he got enrolled in high school. Tony's parents told him he should stop working on the farm and focus entirely on his studies. It was in high school where Tony met his first lifelong friend, Donald Huggins.
I have been an entrepreneur, per se. Let's see, I've been working on a lot of products, some of which unfortunately have ended in very lengthy lawsuits. Tony was always an approachable guy. He was all friendly and stuff. He was the kind of guy who'd come up to you in the lunchroom and be like, "Hey, do you like ham? I like ham. So let's go somewhere and talk about ham and computers."
Tony's humble upbringing was eventually overshadowed by his exceptional grades. By the end of high school, he had earned a full scholarship to a New York City college.
Yeah, he turned into a real nerd. He wouldn't even go to parties. He would always stay inside and study on computers and stuff.
Tony found an apartment just off campus and befriended his new roommate, a young man named Randy Trammell.
So, Tony leaves his farm that he's lived on with his family his whole life, and he goes straight from there to New York City. So, he needs a roommate. That roommate was me. He saw that I needed one in the newspaper, and we got to talking, and I realized pretty soon that this guy is a genius. He's gonna change the world in some way. I knew that from the very beginning. And he was pretty fascinated by New York City.
Tony's fascination with computers eventually wore off on his new friend Randy.
So I was in college to be a doctor, originally. But after I met Tony, he just changed everything. He changed my whole world. He said to me, "Randy, you don't want to be a doctor. There are plenty of doctors. If you want to really help people, come with me."
Tony couldn't shake his desire to make a computer screen go black, so in an act of spontaneity, Tony and Randy decided to drop out of college and move back to Tony's hometown of Vernon, Pennsylvania. Once Tony and Randy arrived in Vernon, Tony started to devise plans to make his dream a reality.
And he said, "Hey, you want to work for me?" I said, "No, because I'm going to work for you."
Tones calls me up on the house phone one day, because we didn't have cell phones back then. Look, kids don't know this, but back in the day, cell phones used to kill you like Zeus. So Tones calls me up on the house phone, and he says, "Donald, I got a brand new idea." Little did I know that he was going to revolutionize the whole monitor game. He was going to wipe everybody off the map.
Tony, now determined to make what he deemed a screensaver a reality, introduced his new partner Randy to his old partner Donald. Their notoriously heated rivalry had begun.
He had a great business sense. No one's disputing that. He helped us business-wise greatly. He was Tony's best friend since the schoolyard. I just don't really get what the big deal is about him. I don't know why Tony brought him along. I mean, he's great for business. He did a great job at business and handling the numbers, but there were times when I wondered if he was actually retarded. You know, he was like a brother to Tony, but I have a brother, and he's retarded.
Tony, Randy, and Donald were about to start their most important work of their careers. They named the endeavor Project Black. After only 12 months, the team came up with the very first screensaver. The team went on to sell the project for $200,000. The world might not have taken notice of them, but one man did.
All of a sudden we hear this motorcycle engine revving, just totally loud, busting out our eardrums. It gets louder and louder. All of a sudden, our front door caves in. because this guy drove his motorcycle inside of the warehouse, and we're all just looking at him, was stunned silent. No one said a word, except Tony. He said, "Who's that guy?" And then, who gets off his bike but Lou Stefano? I didn't know who he was, neither did Tony, but Tony said, "What are you doing here? What do you want from us?" He said, "I'm not scared of any screensavers. The bad boy of screensavers," and suddenly he joined the group. Tony said, "You hired, that's it, no more questions. I don't even want to know your name." I don't think Tony learned your name for about, I don't know.
The first 2 years,
yeah,
he didn't even know it.
He didn't even do it. That's how much belief he had.
What?
I make fucking screensavers.
I'm Lou Stefano, and I'm from the Bronx. I ain't afraid of any screensavers, so don't even go there, girlfriend. That shit's whack. Lou left his entire life behind after that meeting. The company was finally complete.
I wanted to come up with a name for the company, but apparently Donald's a Douche Limited was already taken.
I wanted to call us the Four Screenskateers. It's not a stupid name.
I mean, this whole thing happened because of Tony and technology, so we had to call it Tony Tech. I mean, there was no disputing that. In Vernon, Pennsylvania, Tony bought out the entire warehouse for the men to work out of. They finally had a place of business all to themselves.
I mean, Tony just filled that thing up with like trampolines and pillows and basketball goals and all kinds of things like that, and I just mostly bounced on the trampoline because he was all about creativity.
Every day, we would just work our asses off. Just work hard, code, calculate.
Just coding and calculating.
In order to improve company productivity, Tony allotted Donald a budget to hire some employees, many of which were aspiring IT students, scientists, and engineers.
It was a magical time. We were scooping up science kids by the bucketfuls, like fish in a river.
Get all your shit together, then one of us has a great idea. We all work on it.
Those college kids, they didn't mind working 30, 40, 50, 60, 70.
We all work 70 hours at a time on it. We try to get it made.
You might say, "Donald, isn't that illegal?" And I say, "Don't worry about it, because we was doing stuff, and it's okay."
As the men grew to learn more about what they could accomplish with coding, Tony made a miraculous discovery.
Alright, so one night Tony and me, we're out on the town, we're just bar hopping, it's the middle of the night. And Tony's just, something's off about him. Something's been off about him all day, so I finally confront him about it. "Tony, why you acting weird?" And he says to me, "Randy, look up. Just look at the sky." I did. I saw just stars everywhere. And he says to me, "Randy, I can sell this."
Word spread fast about this highly anticipated new project. The men would find themselves cornered constantly by paparazzi until Tony finally broke his silence and revealed the premise of the next try. Tony, it's time to what the next part. Yeah, tell us.
Space.
Flying through space was flying off the shelves.
At this time in the 80s, there were inventors of the world conferences. Anyone who was anyone would attend. Tony visited several inventors of the world conferences after he sold Project Black, and with flying through space on his resume, his name began to grow in the computer world. At an IWC event in Sweden, he made another friend overseas that would take Tony Tech to the next level. And in order to go international, Tony Tech would need a motivated foreign representative to expand their brand. The Swedish guy, his name was Anders Svensson, about as Swedish as it gets.
Ja, jag jobbade för Tony Tech som vicepresident av svenska avdelningen. Men jobbet handlar ju alltid mycket mer än så. Jag hjälpte Tony Tech att spridas runt om i Europa. Jag använde några av mina kontakter och hjälpte Tony Tech att spridas ganska väl. Väldigt likt den svarta pesten faktiskt. Men efter ett år eller 2 under min konsultation och jag guidade ju företaget igenom här, så var Tony Tech på kartan i England, Frankrike, Tyskland, Norge, Italien och till och med så långt österut som i Polen. Men inte Ryssland. Nej, där tog det stopp. Nej.
With his foreign connections and his great business mind, I mean, amazing guy. He was able to sell flying through space, is what we called it. He was able to sell flying through space for upwards of, almost $1 million, like something like $980,000.
Plus shipping and handling.
Tony Tech had gone international. With this new monopoly on the screensaver market, these men exploded into fame. With the men attempting every screensaver under the sun, their head metagrapherical engineer, Lou DiStefano, made a breakthrough of his own.
Okay, so the thing that I really focus on is coding. I mean, being the head metagrapherical engineer here at Tony Tech, I really have to work hard on coming up with new ideas and new codes so that we can apply them to new screensavers. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out a way to keep this going. And we have to have, the key is we have to have the codes intersect at some point to where this can keep repeating, to where this won't be endless, but it'll seem endless. That's going to be the real key, and I'm still working on that. Because right now, I kind of want the maze to go like... Alright, and see right here, this point is where the code would start all over again. Okay, so I should put something in it. A lot of codes are with 0s and 1s. Maybe I'll put something like a 2 just to have it reset right there and start going back over. I mean, look here. This is some fascinating shit. This really is. I mean, nobody's ever tried anything like this. I mean, I feel like this could be like really revolutionary when it comes to making these screensavers. So I'm really hoping it's going to pay off.
Maze was one of the most controversial screensavers ever released by Tony Tech, due to the unusual number of injuries it indirectly caused. This phenomenon even made it to the national news.
Notorious screensaver maker Lou DiStefano is under fire for his latest creation, 3D Maze. Dozens of people are filing a class action lawsuit against Tony Tech for injuries they sustained while watching the screensaver. At least 400 cases have been reported of fractured skulls and broken hands of people who tried to actually enter the realistic maze on their computer screens.
The claimants, unable to prove Lou was the direct cause of their injuries, were all dismissed. Lou was free to roam. Now that Lou had made himself a pillar in the digital community, he began to create a computer world of Tony Tech's very own. He introduced the idea of screensaver concerts to the world, and people couldn't get enough.
Just like any other concert, I mean, we had musicians, and we had like entertainers that would come out and kind of get the crowd worked up. Because I won't lie, although they are screensavers and although we all work personalities, it can drag a bit. I mean, but people are excited. I mean, they're working it up. You see these things like, like how iPhone, when Steve Jobs would come out, people would like lose their damn minds. That's exactly how they were about screensavers. I mean, keeping back, this is in the 80s. This is back when everything was new. So, I would usually come out and I would start giving speeches. Our very first concert was called Screeners. And that was awesome. That was just epic. And it was tastefully done. I like to think we didn't spend a lot of money. The way that we would fund the screen-saving concerts is when we would sell an idea to a computer company. We had a little bit left over for promotional needs and stuff like that. So they gave me $5,000, and I did the Screeners tour. There was a Save the Last Screen for me, Someone Save My Screen Tonight, Fight for the Right to Screen Save the Night tour. And like around to like colleges and like tech institutes, wherever they had like new computers coming out, and we would start doing screen-saving concerts.
After the smoke from 3D Maze cleared, the company then created what is now considered to be their magnum opus. Tony, being pleased where the company was financially and creatively, had taken his accumulated millions and paid time off and decided to travel the world, leaving Donald the new CEO until Tony's return.
Like, I had no idea he was about to leave us. He just disappeared. I mean, we came back to the office one day and there was a marquee screensaver that said, "Take care of things for me. Donald controls the company. Be good."
This only furthered Donald and Randy's feuds with one another, and left the three savers up to their own devices. Tension started to boil over rather quickly.
Tony left the company to me. He knew I could steer the ship in new horizons. I'm like Captain Picard, sailing the Millennium Falcon, going through space, saving time itself from the forces of evil. And Tony saw that in me, saw it in the Donald heart. And he knew it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, we were definitely at a crossroads.
The men still managed to get work done while Tony was away, but then right when it seemed that the Sabres had the digital world in the palm of their hands, and their tempers had calmed down, tragedy struck.
Of Tony Tech, Tony Shebster has officially been found dead of a stroke suffered while walking in Montevideo, Uruguay. The specifics of his death are still unknown. We will keep you updated.
The Savers took the death of their friend and founder, Tony Shebster, extremely hard. The rift between Randy and Donald only grew without Tony around to act as a moderator for them. Tony was the glue that held the company together, and without him, the company began to crumble at the seams. Within days after Tony Shebster's death, Donald Huggins and Randy Trammell immediately began to fight over the rights to pipes.
I came up with pipes. You see, one day, me and Tones were at his house and I was fixing his plumbing. And I said, Tones, you know, people really like pipes.
It was unreal, honestly. After I came up with pipes, Tony never doubted me anymore. You know, I was his right-hand man. We were like fingers, touching. And we went to a hardware store one day. We just needed some kind of a part for a computer, and we saw these pipes sitting on the wall. And I just looked at him, and I said, Tony, why was there never a movie about pipes? Why can't we use pipes to change people's hearts? We've been going about this all wrong. We think about making the computer better, but how can we make the world better? Pipes. The pipe that connects the future to the past. The pipe that connects your shit to the street. The pipe of life. That's why I thought life goes so fast. As fast as a pipe.
Donald and Randy's arguments now fell on the shoulders of Lou. Constantly having to intercede with their conflicts and feuds, Lou started to unravel. While in a rage, Lou decided to leave Tony Tech and vowed not to come back until Donald and Randy could resolve their differences. Soon after Lou left Tony Tech, Randy followed in suit. He and Donald could no longer work side by side.
Tony was a genius, but he was a quiet man. Donald talks all the time, so what does that tell you? Me and Donald were at each other's throats all day long, and if he was here right now, I'd have my hands around his throat right now.
With the death of its founder, Tony Tech's stockholders began to lose trust in the company's future. In response, now CEO Donald Huggins embarked on radical business ventures to turn the company around. It was at this point in time many speculated that Donald began to establish his own financial security net and escape plan. The company seemed on the verge of self-destruction, and Donald Huggins was primed to throw the switch.
On a sad note, a catastrophic fire has destroyed the headquarters of computer company Tony Tech. At least 200 staff interns and staff members have been injured. We are now live with Tony.
Tony Tech failed because of schlubs like Randy, who brought down the atmosphere and the creative environment.
It was believed by many that Donald Huggins had burned down Tony Tech for the insurance money before their stocks got too low. Donald Huggins, however, felt differently.
Tony Tech caught on fire. The way the firemen explained it to us was the processes were working so hard, we were at that point cranking out screensavers at such a high volume that they just literally burst into flames. But you know, between you and me, I think Donald rigged the whole thing.
Just hearsay, and have not been proven in any court of law. I was not convicted for any crime, and in fact, even though some people whom I worked with, like Randy, may have said so, their testimony was thrown out with the case. Key witnesses did not show up for trial that day.
The men didn't speak to one another for years, until Lou DiStefano tried to right the ship.
Now, the thing that I'm gathering it's like an ode to Tony. I mean, he did so much for all of us. Because in all reality, none of us belong there. But he made it a home for us. You know, it was kind of like an island of misfit toys. And somehow together we made one hell of a screensaver. So the hardest part is going to be getting us to work together. But that's all he ever wanted. He just wanted us to all work together, be like a family. And that's what we're going to try to do.
Lou began to contact Donald and Randy in order to set up a reunion. He would have to convince the both of them to have a truce in order for them to make one final screensaver to properly honor their friend Tony.
Yeah, I'm nervous about seeing Donald. I'm worried I won't break a foot off in his keister. The guy ruined my life. And I'm supposed to go have a reunion with him. I hate reunions. I mean, I know me. I'm probably gonna wear a girdle tonight and dye my hair.
When asked about the reunion, Donald refused to comment. Luckily for us, Lou DiStefano decided to invite the cameras in to see the reunion take place.
That good? You ready to go? All right, come on in. Well, this is my old house. I only say old just because of the fact that things haven't been going that great since Tony Tech fell apart. Kind of blew all of my money, and so I have to sell this place and move into a studio apartment in Burbank. You get what you give, I guess. All right, quick tour. It's where the magic happens, over there. What I would do is I had lawn furniture over there, and I had a few TV screens up here in this corner. Had to sell that to make the last mortgage payment, but it's best what I got right now. Right now, I'm just waiting for Donald and Randy to come by, and we'll get this reunion started. I'm honestly, I'm a little anxious just because I'm not sure how it's gonna go. These guys haven't seen each other in a long ass time, and it's a hell of a thing getting, you know, old friends, in their case, old enemies back together. You know, especially to work on something they haven't even thought about in who knows how long. Randy, you goddamn platypus, get in here, dude.
Been a while.
How you doing? You look good.
No, I don't.
Oh, you look the same.
Nice place.
Yeah, right? Well, I'm glad you guys came. It's good to have the Savers back, you know? I mean, what have you guys been up to? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Well, the funeral was fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't make it.
There were only 3 pallbearers. Kind of hard to carry it.
Yeah, I heard about that. It made me very sad to hear. Well, what Donald's been up to is I've been working on an app. It's $1 million idea. It's an app that plays Angry Birds for you so you can play more Angry Birds. And you guys can get in on it for a meager price of $20,000.
All right, can we just get started on this, please? Where's the computer?
I don't know what.
Back this way?
So, what did Tony love more than anything else in the world?
Screensavers.
Screensavers? You know, that's probably a pretty good idea.
Lou, are you suggesting a screensaver? I don't see how that would work.
I was just gonna suggest like a screensaver of his glasses, just kind of hopping about.
Why do you want to put glasses on a screensaver, Lou?
I mean, you like his glasses.
Look. Shut up, guys. Jesus. Tony loved entomology. Everybody knows that. So we got to incorporate entomology somehow.
What does Lord of the Rings have to do with anything?
What's a screensaver about plants?
That's not what that means.
Entomology is the study of mythical beings.
Mythical beings? Lou, that doesn't sound like a very good screensaver.
I don't know why he's asking me that.
You know what? I need to go get a
really-
glass of spaghetti water.
This
I
is
just
perplexing. This,
Jesus Christ. I mean, my God.
I don't know.
You made him leave.
You made him leave. You don't know what enterology
Okay,
is.
he's not gonna be back for like a half hour, so let's figure something else out.
Let's figure something else. You've shot down every one of my ideas.
You haven't had one idea so far.
What about the unicorn idea?
Like I said, you have not had one idea.
Why are you so jealous of me?
I'm not jealous. Maybe I'm a little mad at you because you took everything from me.
Look, Tony chose me to be in charge.
He didn't choose you. You tricked him. You tricked him with your looks and your wiles. That's what you do to people. That's how you got the company. That's how you got ahead of me, even though I was always better than you.
Tony chose me because I'm a good businessman and I am creative and handsome.
You're none of those things except handsome, and you can't skate on that your whole life. You're nothing. You understand me? You took everything from me. You took my job, you took my livelihood, you took my Tony, and you took pipes. I invented pipes, goddammit.
You invented pipes. I invented pipes. You don't even know what pipes are.
You guys both invented pipes. I can't even still believe that you're fighting about this. I mean, I don't remember much from the 80s and 90s, but you did it together, as a team, just like Tony would have wanted you to. Remember when you guys first met, you were always at each other's throats, but Tony knew that if you got to know each other, you'd like each other. I mean, and he was right. Because he knew what the true meaning of screensavers was. You know, people getting along, people coming together. I mean, back in 1993, you two were inseparable. I watched both of you change. I mean, you stopped talking to each other, you're fighting all the time. I mean, you just lost all contact. I mean, and did it make you happy?
I guess it didn't.
Fucking Donald, the answer is it didn't. Do you guys remember the Pipe Shack?
Wow. I forgot about that place.
You guys spent every single night in that bar talking savers. I was there the night that you came up with pipes. You guys talked about how you loved the Pipe Shack and how you wanted to make a screensaver in its honor. So you got drunk, you went to the office, and you made fucking pipes. Together. Because of your friendship. Okay, Gaylords, is that enough? Are we good? Can we go make the best fucking screensaver we can, huh? Chop, chop, flip it around.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
We need some coffee. We need to do coffee first. Another hug, maybe? Maybe another hug?
I think so.
Another hug.
Let's all do it. Who's licking me?
I am.
Jesus.
The Minutes set out to make a screensaver to remember their friend, Tony Shepster. But they ended up creating an even better business model. Another visionary endeavor. Another breakthrough.
And you heard it here first. The multi-million-dollar company Tony Tech, which brought the world its first screensaver, is now back in the screensaver game. This time, they are making screensavers for smartphones. Their debut screensaver app has already had almost 2 billion downloads, and the number is rising.